Allow me to comment about ADANI deal. ADANI deal. ADANI deal is a done deal. And when I talk about a done deal, I'm not talking of a done deal alone. I'm talking of done deals. Very many deals have been done. Someone is on record stating that a done deal, ADANI, not a done deal, ADANI financed Raila's campaign in the 2012. I am not in a position to verify whether that statement is 100% true or that statement is 100% false or in between. I do not know the intention of the person who talked of it, and I do not know the person. So I'm not in a position to say anything, left, right, or even center. But I want to believe that this person was trying to show one thing by saying that ADANI are the ones who financed for Raila's campaign in 2012. I think if that person was saying what I'm going to say, then I agree with him totally. Maybe that person was saying that ADANI had started its deal, or he has started his deal very many years ago. 12 years is a lot. So it is a deal that was planned a long time ago. Maybe that person is also trying to say that ADANI did not just deal with the people in the government. He dealt with even people in the opposition. Why am I saying so? Remember Paul Kamlesh Patni. Paul Kamlesh Patni, in the year 1992, he went to Ajip House and gave Jaramogi Oginga a briefcase of 20 million shillings. The 20 million shillings, it has come to be realized. You see, Jaramogi is the only, what do you call, moral politician Kenya has ever had. All others, including his son, no. Now, what Patni did that time was he knew that the best way is, instead of taking 50 million and giving it to one candidate, and then that candidate loses, you have lost 50 million and you have lost all the chances. Why don't you take 20 million, give it to this group, take another 20 million, give to that group, and wait for 10 million for whichever side will win to give them as a bonus after the president has been sworn in. It so happened that Kamlesh Party gave all parties a lot of money. Then Jaramogi went to a public meeting. He said that the first thing he'll do upon being made the president is to address the issue of Kamlesh Party. When he said that the first thing he'll do upon assuming office is to address Party issue, he went home and started looking at the newspaper, at the TV station. At the TV station, they talked about him. What he had talked about parades. I mean, I'm calling the parade, Waskari Aishi, public rallies. After they had talked about that, and then they showed the picture of Kamlesh Patni talking about ABCD. Then he called somebody who was nearby. He said, is it not the young person who brought a briefcase in our office? He said, yes, he's the one. So Jaramogi saw what was happening. He knew he knew everything. So what he did, the following day he called a press conference. And he said that since he doubted Kamlesh Patni as somebody who is corrupt, Kamlesh Patni had come to his office and given him money for campaigns. And he said that he will refund that money. Before I continue, let me ask you, do you know of any Kenyan politician who can refund money? Mtoto ya Lando anaitwa JI-TENGE is the only one who can, but don't tell anybody. JI-TENGE wa Lando is the only one who can refund the money in full. Hiyo ni siri yangu nawe. So no Kenyan politician can refund the money or can even mention. So he said that he's going to refund the money to Kamlesh Patni. When he said he's going to refund the money, he called the parties for the Kenya advocate, who is Paul Kabugi Mwite. You see, Paul Mwite is the leading counsel for Gachagua, isn't it? So he called him and he called the press conference and said, the money that you took to the party, to Ford Kenya, can you return the money to Kamlesh Patni? Paul Mwite said yes. But what people did not know, and what people may not have known, and what people hatungejua mpaka hata wa leo, is that Paul Kamlesh Patni gave out a briefcase full of 20 million shillings cash. And Paul Mwite took to the bank 2 million shillings. 18 has never been known. Unajua pesa zilipotea, hata kulikuwa na justice mwingine huko kutoka huko kwetu anaitwa Kulova. Pale mambo ya Patni. Anyway, and you know Paul Mwite, ninawajua. You see I'm 49% hiyo kabila. Kayoreshiria Mogikuyu angiona mbia atige ciothe ndangitiga macio ni mahini. Now Paul Mwite, in the records, he had written that Patni had given out 2 million. So he went to the bank, withdrew 2 million and took it to Patni. Patni said, I have no objection with Ford Kenya refunding my money if they don't want it. But the amount was not 2 million, it was 20 million. I'm saying all this because when elections, that was the first multi-party election in 1992. Patni already knew that the next president, he knew who the next president would be. He knew that the next president is the person whose name appears on the ballot paper, presidential ballot paper. So he went to all the presidential candidates, akarusha huko pesa, akarusha huko pesa. That is what Patni did. And that is what other partners have been doing, including ADANI. And you know, these things are not happening in Kenya only or whatever, but let us talk about it on the context of the Kenyan environment. So what happens is these people, they give all the people whose names appear on the ballot paper. So if this person, whoever it is, says that ADANI paid a lot of money for Raila's campaign in 2012, I want to believe that it is in the context of all these people, kina ADANI, kina Kamlesh Patni, paying all the people whose names appear on the candidate. Because there is this simple mathematics that I can tell you who the next president of Kenya will be. I only need to wait for the final ballot paper, and I'll show you the paper and say his or her name, the name of the next president appears on this paper. That is the simple deal, or ADANI deal, or Kamlesh, whatever. So when this person says that Raila's campaign was paid for 12 years ago, I'm only agreeing it on the context that such people pay everybody. It is just like we commit a crime, 7 of us, and then I'm arrested. See, the prosecution will say you are among those who stole. And he'll be right, because I'm among those who stole. So when they say that ADANI finance the whatever, I'm agreeing it on that context. Now, when we go to the other context of you look at it and see that right now, Raila and only we can say most of these political heavyweights are on one side. So you find that, and that is why I'm saying ADANI deal is a done deal. Now that's what I'm saying. If all political heavyweights, sasa wale wako huko pande wengine ni kina nani? Just look at it. Martha Karua. Look at Kalonzo Musyoka. Hata kama mimi ama nobody. Bwana naweza kuwadharau nikasema those are paperweight. Paperweight. So if Adan has been sponsoring all sides and then he's sponsoring, I mean, he finds that right now, Raila, I mean, all political heavyweights are on one side and all political paperweights are on the other side. So that is the best time for Adani to come in. Kindly understand that. Then I want to tell you that the longer the thing goes, you see, these people are, have you seen, I have a brother, my second follower. Kila siku huwa ana bet tu. Na ukimwangalia hakuna kitu amewahi nunua. But then nangoja tu. So these people also bet that way. He can spend a lot of money waiting for the right time. And you see, very few people win bets. So you'll find that for every deal that has to do with Adani, it goes to, there is other fewer, there are lesser Adanis, lesser Kamlesh, who would even go bankrupt trying that, and they just move on. Another Adani, another Kamlesh we have in Kenya is my namesake, Maina Wanjigi. Jimmy, but you see the problem with Jimmy, hey, anyway, Kamlesh party ni Muhindi, Adani ni kabila gani? Pakistan. Wanjigi is a Kikuyu, and you see Kikuyu, beer, modo wa beer. He agreed with the Uhuru Ruto group that they were to give him the SGR from Mombasa to Nairobi. But then again, they had also given it to somebody else. Sasa yeye hata alikuwa anaambiwa na Uhuru, hapana tapatapa. I said patapata, I said tapatapa. Hapana tapatapa. Hii reli haishi nini? Haishi na nini Embakasi. Hii reli inaenda paka Uganda. And you see it is even longer than the other one. Because the rail that I've been using since my childhood, near Eldoret Malaba, isn't it? But nowadays, itaenda namna hii, SGR. It goes up to Kisumu, alafu inazunguka huko Siaya, inaenda inatokezea Malaba, Busia. So Uhuru was telling him, wachana na hii maneno bwana. We ngoja kuna pati tu, lakini this is somebody like me, ambaye Jimmy like me, ambaye I only bet when I know I'm going to win. Hii bet ya kushindwa hapana. So that is what I'm saying that these people do, and they plan it for a very, very long time. Then what do they do after planning for a very long time? This is what they do. You have seen, and I want to remind you of what you have seen. Blackouts. Now, this is how Adani deal came in. Sumesikia Adani yako kwa Ketrako? Yeah, yako kwa Ketrako. Or was I supposed to start with the airport? Hii akili yangu inarukarukaga huko na huko, but forgive me. I mean, God gave me photographic mind ya kunini, but then God does not give you everything. I'm not a computer to organize everything in line. I don't even know how to read from the notes. There are occasions when I read from my notes, na ninajikuta I even get more confused. So God made me the way you are. Let us celebrate my positive. I'm supposed to have started with the airport, but I'll start with Ketrako. Adani, is it 2 or 3 programs? But if it is a 3, I'll remember Azai before I tell my cameraman to switch off. Let us start with Ketrako. ADANI is in Ketraco. Yeah, the third deal is I think barabara ya kutoka Westlands all the way to Mau Summit. I don't know, but anyway, don't take my things that whatever I'm passing the messages. Whatever I'm saying may not be 100% correct, but take the context on what I am saying. Let us start with the Ketraco, although no, that is the second or third thing. You may have seen, even during the time of Gachagua Ruto government, you may have seen that during Gachagua Ruto government, we were having blackouts. Hata kuna blackout ingine ilichukua how many days? Is it 2 or 3 days? And then the minister for energy, sijui anaitwa energy ama nini. The minister for energy just comes up one day and says, after nyinyi mmepata nini? Oh, unajua unajua hii kitu inatoka Loyangalani. I'll tell you about Loyangalani. Hii kitu inatoka Loyangalani, Turkana windmill, inakuja mpaka Narok, pali inaitwa Suswa. So there was a trip and whatever, so there was an overload, na hiyo kitu ika trip na ikafanya nini. They have forgotten that kuna kinyosi ambaye that day hajanyoa mtu, and that day that kinyosi is supposed to pay the kinyosi. That kinyosi is supposed to go to his kakichumba, alipe rent. That day he is supposed to buy food for himself and his family and watoto na nini. We don't unajua, hey, I'm telling you, binguni, not binguni. Binguni mtoto ya land atakuwa polisi wanaita askari wanaita right mark, but those of you who will be unlucky to go to hell, utakuta zile kuni zina nini. Kenyan politician watakuwa wameachwa wamekauka kama ile kuni inakuaga, ile kuni we saw when we were very young, inawekwa juu ya moto. Sasa siku ile itatumika imekauka kabisa na ile moshi, na hiyo ndio moto shetani atatumia kuchoma watu, Kenyan politician, because here is somebody who is a kinyosi 3 to 4 days, na hiyo kinyosi yake atalipa 3 to 4 days, hakuna stima, na unaambiwa unajua kuna stima inatoka Loyangalani huko Lake Turkana imekuja imefika Suswa, na ikifika Suswa that is when it tripped natoka kuwa na blackout in the western region of Kenya. Whatever period it was, hakuna stima kwa kinyosi na hakuna stima kwa yule nini kwa kule kinyosi anaishi, and he has to buy candles, he has to eat, he has to pay rent for the two places just because a Kenyan politician. Can I call him a Kenyan politician ama niseme kuni za shetani hell? Yeah, because kuni za shetani hell zimetumika kufanya hivyo. Now you will find that so many times unakuja unakuta kwamba you turn back and say, why can't we now have a proper look down in this thing? Remember, ADANI, Kamlesh Patni or any other such person above, wamekuja walipiga hiyo kitu zamani, walipiga hiyo hesabu nini, I nearly say 1912, 2012. Now it is 12 years later inafanyika. So people come and then they come as saviors. Wanasema oh, sasa sijui nini, wanakuja na estimate. Utaona hizo, all the 3 examples are that way. They will come with the estimates na watakuja waseme oh, whatever. And then wewe ambaye unatumiaga tokens, utakuja ukute unatumiaga candles na tokens. At the end of the month, the amount of money you are using is a lot. Sasa unaanza kuambiwa no, unajua ADANI wanakuja, ADANI are coming. Na watakuja sijui, mimi ni mtu stima mimi uguza tu stima wakati ya kubadilisha bulb. Hata saa zingine naita mtu anibadilishe. But then they look at those wires wanasema, hii sijui kilowatt sijui nini sijui kilo megawatt sijui ngapi. We need to bring in ADANI. ADANI will do this and ABCD. But instead of you now a token unit moja unanunua pesa ngapi? 20. You'll be now buying at 22 shillings 1 unit. Na wewe unaangalia hiyo 20, instead of 20 sasa utakuwa unanunua 22 shillings and 50 cents. Hiyo 2 shillings and 50 cents ni sawa. Ni sawa because alternative ni candle. Na candle haitawasha TV na haitawasha uva. Na tena ukitumia candle utatumia 25 shillings per day, sio? Sasa mtoto atasomea candle. Sasa you turn back to your tormentor and treat your tormentor. Now your tormentor is who? ADANI. And you start treating him as your savior. Hey, kama si ADANI kukuja, sijui nini. That what happened in Ketraco. Now, watakuja waseme nini? Watakuja waseme airport. Airport mvua ilikuwa inanyesha. It was inanyesha ndani ya airport. Tunaenda tunasema, imagine Jomo Kenyatta airport used to be the best in Eastern. In fact, the only 2 airports which were better than Jomo Kenyatta International Airport were ile iko, is it Johannesburg ama ni Cape Town, pamoja na ile iko Egypt. Hata ya Lagos haifiki hiyo. So how comes mvua imeanza kunyesha mpaka mvua inanyesha ndani ya na unajua usipoziba ufa hautajenga ukuta. Hawakuziba ufa, sasa ikazidi, who knows, hata labda walitoboa zaidi, whatever. Nyinyi wakati JKIA, somebody told me JKIA nowadays is called James Kwatenge International Airport. Yeah. JKIA sasa zile inanyeshewa ina nini, tunaenda huko na makamera tunaanza angalia bwana, you can form a river here, River Lando kumbe things are hacking. ADANI anakuja ana offer, and the offer is just long. The offer goes to 30 years. I'm 63 years. So hiyo 30 years ikienda kuisha, na hii watu wanapenda watoto wao. Imagine starting a business that will take 30 years na mimi saa hii naanza tu kufikiria nikipata tu kitu hata enough like pension niwe nakula tu mwisho wa mwezi watoto, my last born in the next 2 years atakuwa anafanya kazi. But some people can start projects. Sorry to digress a bit. I have a friend who was the commandant, Kamiti prison. He says that in Kamiti they had Nigerian prisoners who have been jailed for over 20 years. But wanafanya business deals because the lawyer comes and whatever, wanafanya business deals ambazo they feed their families in Nigeria na wanaendelea vizuri. Na always they tell their lawyers to tell their relatives in Nigeria that the kind of work wameshikika, they'll not the chances of being seen the next 10 years are very few. Now if you are told that na unalishwa vizuri na unafanya unakaa vizuri. So that is what I'm saying, that we have some people who are far looking. Somebody anaanza deal leo na itakaa 30 years. By then I'll be 93 years. That is how it was. Angalia barabara kama ya kutoka Westlands all the way to Mau Summit. These people are very clever. Na wanafikiria sana. It's only that sijui, do you know any of them ndio niandikwe kazi huko, because I can be a very good think tank for them. Sasa wanakaa wanafikiria, wanasema you going to Mau Summit ndio, I think the last, I may be wrong, but I think Mau Summit ndio pahali ambapo you go to you turn left and go to Kericho Kisumu, or you go straight to Eldoret Uganda. Now for you to leave Nairobi to Mau Summit, you find there is the vehicle travels so slow. There is wastage in time. 1. 2, driving a vehicle in a traffic jam, una drive, unakanyaga brake, unaenda una nini. That way you use a lot of fuel. So you waste time. You just need to be assured that from Nairobi to Mau Summit, you will take 2.5 hours. Now you take 4 hours. You'll have saved 90 minutes. You'll have saved fuel and so on and so on. So you find, okay, if that is the case, then I'd rather do what? I'd rather support that. And you see, you have saved 90 minutes. You have saved 90 minutes. You have saved fuel, and you have saved a lot of things. So you support that. And what happens? Lastly, when I want to say about, because I've talked about airport, I've talked about Ketraco, I've talked about Mau Summit Road. There is also indeed importance of upgrading some of these our infrastructures. Let me be very frank. It is, even if we have some clever people who are working in the government, and you find that there's somebody I know who knew that the Chinese were going to expand the road. Then he went and bought a place which was swampy. He placed there a lot of things. He even placed a petrol station there, so that when they come to reclaim the road and to expand the road, he would be paid more. Then the Chinese looked at the two sides of the road and found that the side that they were to expand, including that petrol station, had a lot of buildings. So they'll have to compensate. They'll have to compensate a lot of money as compared to the other. So they pushed the road towards the other side a bit. So you can see there was. You can see there are those people who work in the government and do that, and that is how they come with that. And you find that I can tell you it is true that some roads, it is good to have a PPI. Roads like Mombasa Road is also supposed to have that, because we have some roads which are very important to the country, but they are used by very few people. If we were to tarmac only roads that has a high turnout of vehicles, then most of our outlying districts, because I've been to those places, I've been to almost everywhere in Kenya. I've been to Kacheliba, now Yapom. I have been to Ramu, Mandera. I've been to Liboi. I've been to Elwak. I've been to everywhere. There are some roads that the government just needs to tarmac them. Roads like from Isiolo or Garissa. Garissa, they come, one road leaves Garissa, another one leaves Isiolo. They meet at Madogashe. Then from Madogashe, they go all the way to Mandera. Those roads need tarmacking because they are Kenyans and whatever. So you find that in this thing that is called PPP, public-private partnership, you find an international company that will, you see, it is a very simple thing. If somebody insists that he's going to tarmac the road from Kapsabet to Chavakali, and you feel that road does not have a lot of people, wacha ajenge. Then you tell him atakaa nayo for 30 years. After 30 years, he'll not have recouped. So you find that many people who go for PPP, public-private partnership, they usually go to these major roads. So that they can get a lot of money. But what I'm against is this thing about companies such as Jimmy Wanjigi, people like Kamlesh Patni, people like ADANI, using bribery to go and place themselves strategically in such places so that they can mint money forever. Have you ever asked yourself why politicians use a lot of money more than what they'll get over the 5 years in campaigning? Hey, you just, okay, you want to be a governor of a county. How much is the salary of a governor? And then multiply that by 60 months. You'll find that even the last month of campaign, he uses more than that. It is because, as the Lingalas say, makambo ezali minene na kati ya awa.